What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for checking out this video. In today's video, we train chest and back at Powerhouse Gym Athletic Club with my main man, the Professor, Christopher Barakat. If you guys aren't familiar with Chris, go ahead and check out his content. He's an extremely bright individual. He is actually a professor at the University of Tampa as well, and one of the best coaches in the industry, in my opinion. So what we started the workout out with was actually some primer / activation exercises. What we did here was we really focused on intentionally squeezing the pecs. So what you can see here is that my humerus is actually getting as close to the midline of my body as possible. This allows you to better be able to shorten the pectoralis musculature. Next up, what we did was we moved into some lat activations. Again, these are just primer exercises. Our intention here is really to allow a complete stretch, as you can see there, and a complete shortening right there on the lower lats. Again, this is a primer or activation exercise before we even really get into our working sets. I believe that by doing these, we are focusing our mind to be able to actually recruit and turn on all of the muscle fiber within that region that we will be utilizing within this day. So obviously we're training chest and back today, so a main movement that you guys are going to be seeing a lot from me and anybody I train with is going to be the incline bench press. So this was my first working set. We went with 185 pounds here, really just trying to feel it out. Starting out this exercise, what we did was we gradually worked our way up, and I'm really focusing on intentionally applying as much tension to my upper clavicular region of my pecs as possible. This was my working weight, guys. We decided to go with 205 for 4 sets of 5 to 6 reps. This is the heaviest I have gone while really focusing on benching with perfect form. You guys can see that barbell is darn near scrubbing my neck, and it feels really, really good to be able to activate a piece of my chest that, to be quite frank with you guys, I neglected for years. Here you guys can see Chris. Again, Chris is a master of execution with all of his exercises. This is a guy that I highly respect just for the person that he is, what he's achieved in a short amount of time, and I know that this guy's future is extremely, extremely bright. So here he is. You guys can see that the visual appearance of our reps is a little bit different. Okay, so you guys can see here that Chris actually does not touch his chest, but rather creates a really high amount of tension right before he's about to transfer from the eccentric into the concentric phase of the exercise. Now, we do both agree that a strong controlled eccentric and forceful concentric is to be, I guess, considered optimal in regards to hypertrophy. So this was an experimental set, guys, and really what I wanted to do was see whether or not changing the angle of my humerus was optimal for my body. Now, I think I have a better opportunity to get this angle down if I was to use dumbbells, but because I'm locked in due to the barbell, it just did not feel right when I tried to allow my humerus to come down maybe even about 15 or 20 degrees. The idea behind that was that if you understand the way that the upper pecs, or the way that the upper pec muscle fibers run, it would make sense theoretically that if you have a slight bend, meaning your humerus is like 15-20 degrees more towards your body, you'd be able to recruit those upper pec fibers. However, that did not hold true to me, as I did feel it much more in the upper clavicular region of my pecs with my humeruses flaring out to the sides. So this was an exercise that we basically stumbled upon. I utilized it a few times in the past few weeks, but this is something that I showed Chris, and basically what we're doing here is we are trying to mimic the incline bench press, but for the back. So our goal here is to completely retract the scapula first. You can see Chris is engaging that right there. So we're retracting the scap first, pulling that scap back, and then pulling with the elbows as high as we can keep them, basically having our humerus in line and our elbows in line with our glenohumeral joint, which is actually the joint surrounding the shoulder or the rotator cuff. Now allowing us to really try to target the upper region of the back. So what we're trying to target here by that scapular retraction and then a strong high pull is basically isolating the rear deltoids. Now, a lot of people don't necessarily have an exercise where they really can load up on the rear delts, which I think is part of the reason why so many individuals have an overdeveloped anterior deltoid and many individuals have an underdeveloped rear delt. I am very guilty of this, so I'm very happy that I was able to stumble upon this exercise. Moving in next, guys, we have the flat dumbbell bench press. This is a staple you guys are going to be seeing a lot from me. We stuck with about 80 pounds on this day, but we ended up doing like 5 sets of, I believe, 8 to 10 repetitions. Now, what we actually did was we supersetted this with a prime handle low row, and I really want to dig into that coming up next, because you guys are going to see exactly how we chose to isolate our lower lats on that movement. And everything that we do is under extreme control. I personally feel like it's very hard to get injured if you are in control of the weights that you're lifting. Now, first and foremost, I think that the execution aspect and learning how to properly use your muscles is going to be the #1 core foundational aspect when it comes to resistance training. Once you can lock that in, then at that point in time, we can try to focus on progressively overloading in time. Moving on, guys, this is by far becoming one of my all-time favorite lat exercises. For those of you, if any of you have ever had a hard time really feeling out your lat muscles, this is the exercise for you. Now, what you guys can see here very noticeably is that Chris is actually laterally rotating at his spine to the side that he's rowing on. Now, the reason for this is that you have to understand the way that the lat muscle from origin to insertion runs is like a big fan, right? So the origin is around your spinal erectors, and then it basically flows all the way, it wraps around the side of your rib cage and inserts up under your arm to the humerus. So what I want you guys to focus on here is the lateral shift to the side as he's pulling. Now, something that I want you guys to focus on as well is that when you actually start to engage the exercise, you can see here what I'm doing is I'm actually thinking about pulling my elbows to the floor. I am not thinking about pulling my elbows straight back, but rather initiating the lat by depressing my scapula, right? You guys can see it right here. Depress and then pull, but I'm trying to pull my elbows as low to my body as possible. This will ensure that you are maximally recruiting your lat muscle. This exercise for me was a complete game changer. Here we go. I got a really cool angle for you guys. So moving in next, we decided to superset 4 different exercises. So what we have here is just a close grip lat pull down. Now, the main thing I want you guys to focus on here is that I'm actually trying to keep the cable attachment away from my body. Most people will actually pull this to their chest, but instead what I'm trying to do is keep the intention on the lat and keep my hands in front of my body. Yeah, right there. Supersetted with that, we just went with an OG, old school, a dumbbell pullover, and all I'm trying to do here is just really get a really solid stretch and then squeeze and contract my lats as I'm bringing the dumbbell over. So you guys can see complete stretch, shortening, complete stretch, shortening, and again, I think this is a great, a really good finisher exercise for the chest and the back. Coming up next, and our last superset for the day. Guys, I really enjoyed this workout. It's not every day that I get a chance to train with Chris. Again, an extremely bright person. Him and I, we always connect, and every time we meet and we talk, we always have extremely deep conversations. And I just really appreciate this guy for who he is, what he does, and what he stands for. His core values are top notch. So we have a decline dumbbell bench just to isolate the pecs from a different angle. And then we finish that up with a standing incline fly. Again, if you guys notice the angle that my humerus is traveling, Ideally, it would be recruiting the majority of my upper pecs. However, individuality, or let's say bio-individuality, based off of the insertions and origins of your muscles, will dictate what angle is best for you to recruit your upper pecs. But guys, in most cases, we need to start working our upper pecs more as a means to level out or even out our pec musculature. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys have any questions regarding any of the exercises that we did, please feel free to comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. These videos are going to keep coming. If you guys have any topics or any exercises you want me to cover, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Much love, guys. My name is William Grazione, the head coach of metabolicevolution.com, and I'll see you guys in the next video.